Hi, I'm Mel from the Money Study, bringing you another episode in our Take 10 challenge. And we are indeed up to number 23, all about consolidating your superannuation. And before we kick off, there's the disclaimer. Today we're talking facts, we're talking information, we are not giving you advice. I had a young gentleman that came into my business, we had a little chat. He had 12 super funds. 12 super funds. Like some of them had a few $100s in them, but here he was paying fees and so forth on 12 different super funds, and they were all different types, and it was just a mess, absolute mess. He didn't have a clue where to go, what to do about it. So we sat down and we had a chat about this whole business of consolidating. Now I'm going to give you a session coming up on how to compare super funds, so you know which ones to sort of what to look for and so forth. But in this one, it's just really more the reasonings behind, why should we do consolidation and how do we go about it. Basically, it just comes down to the fact, why on earth are we duplicating costs in having more than one fund? All the super funds will charge you an administrative fee, and it could be hundreds of dollars, extra for every single fund, and that's just completely dead money. I hear some people say, yeah, I do it for diversification. I've got some money in a super fund with this bank and a super fund with that bank, and so it goes on, and some in my industry fund and some with my AMP, and so it goes on. If you really have a close look at what your super fund is investing in, and do you even know what they're investing in, you'll pretty find that most super funds don't like being too different to any other super fund in case they get it wrong. So a lot of super funds, you'll find that they're really investing in the same thing anyway. And so you end up finding, are we really getting a diversification if we are investing with different people doing all exactly the same thing? Now, there'll be a little bit of a difference, no doubt. And each super fund has its day in the sun where they get it right, and they're the top performing fund for the month and so forth. But generally speaking, it's not a lot of difference between a balanced account in one fund and the balanced account in another fund there. Now, you can do a bit of comparison, so I'm going to go through this in a bit more detail later on, but there certainly are some good websites there. Compare My Super, Review My Super, CanStar, and going on to your MyGov account, there's all different tools that we can do it. It's just a case you've got to also be careful of the insurances. There are insurances, and if you roll money across, yes, the money will come across, but not the insurances. So we've got to be careful that we don't just roll over and consolidate. That's easy to do, but lose any insurances that we really did need. We apply for the new insurance only to find out we get knocked back because we had asthma when we were 16 or something like that. Now, you may need to maintain a minimum of two funds. If, for instance, you do have insurance in one and you believe that you wouldn't never get reinsured with another company because you've got a pre-existing condition, you might just want to keep that fund for the insurance, have enough money in there to keep on paying the insurance premiums, but use your other one because of its performance and other features it may have. Are there any exit fees or entry fees? Probably unlikely these days. Some of the older, AMPs and colonials and so forth used to have disgusting exit fees to get out of a super fund, literally because the poor old financial planner was going to miss out on his future commissions. That's all pretty well being knocked on the head these days, and normally you can roll from one to another pretty much without any cost. There would be some cost because obviously they've got to sell down the investment, and any time there's a sale of investments, there's that what they call a buy-sell spread, meaning the difference between the buy price and the sell price. We'll talk about that later on. And there may be some other costs in just actually selling the thing, and similarly with buying, but normally there's not a fee. It could just be the cost of actually running the sale or so forth. And then, of course, when you move, understand that again, yes, you go to a new fund, you've got new choice. You've got the choice of how it's invested. Now, if you don't choose, they will put you into what's called the default portfolio, meaning all the investments is just a catch-all, We'll be talking about portfolios and the suitability for who you are and what you're trying to achieve later on. But just make sure that you're not going from a high risk to a low risk or a low risk to a high risk if you want to maintain the same sort of returns and so forth. Now, normally if you've got 5 funds, you would need 5 forms. And normally it's also best to send the forms off to the fund that you want to consolidate into, because they want your money. Sending a form to get rid of a fund and telling them to roll it over, generally speaking, they'll just contact you and try to talk you out of it. So I honestly, I don't even particularly like filling out forms these days. It more may be a case the easiest way to do it is just to log into your MyGov account. And if you haven't got a MyGov, get one. Get a MyGov account, because on your MyGov, it should indeed spell out all of your different super funds. It should spell out all the ones you've got, providing you have indeed provided your tax file number. So therefore, they'll all list there, and with that, you can literally just say, okay, there's a button there for consolidation. You give them the details of which one you want to roll it into, hit the button, and with 48 hours, your money's rolled across to that fund, and it's all free. So not a bad little service. So yeah, just tidy it up, because it's far easier to keep track of if we've really only got 1 or 2 funds to indeed look at and maintain, rather than having 12. If you need a bit of guidance on this, but I'll say wait until you see the episode on the different how to select a different super fund. But again, because we're here to help you should you need a bit of extra help.